Hello everyone, welcome along live to another live darts watch along on the channel. I'm going to give you a heads up here. I really apologise. This could be a very quick stream. The reason why is I can see right now major lag. The McDonald's Wi-Fi is shitting the bed today. So this could be a very, very quick stream. So for those of you that are just joining now, I do apologise if there is lag once again. Wi-Fi seems to be shitting the bed. So if it does get too bad in terms of dropping frames, I will just stop the stream and leave it for tonight because it's shit in the bed big time, and I'd rather not sit there for 4 hours wasting my time knowing that any of you can't actually hear what's going on. So I do apologise. As I said, I'm going to keep saying it in the chat for the next kind of 10 or 15 minutes. It looks like it's very laggy right now, so I really do apologise. It's the Wi-Fi being terrible, of course. At this Christmas period, everybody is certainly using the Wi-Fi. So for those of you turning up now, I do apologise if this stream doesn't necessarily abruptly end. I will say if it's going to end, and I'll send you guys over to another watch-along stream. But the Wi-Fi seems to be shockingly bad today. Like, I'm having real issues with it, so I do apologise. If I was in my usual area, in my usual setup, we'd have no issues either way. But I'll be back in 2 seconds. We'll talk about that first game, and then we'll get underway with tonight's action at the darts. But just going to quickly go and get a drink, and then I'll be back ready for the first match of the night. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. So for those of you, hello, welcome along to the live darts watch along with the World Darts Championship. I am going to say once again here, I sincerely apologise about the lag on tonight's stream. I genuinely don't know why it's shit in the bed. The McDonald's Wi-Fi playing up big time. So I massively apologise here. For those of you that are just joining, tell me in the chat if it's laggy right now, because if it is, I'll just end the stream and I'll leave this video up, so if anybody comes in throughout the next 4 hours, basically, if it's continuing to lag, the reason why there's no stream tonight is because of lag issues. The Wi-Fi, as I said, majorly shit in the bed tonight. If not, then I guess that's fantastic. We can continue on with the stream as normal, but we've got 4 brilliant games to come up tonight. Danny Noppart taking on Carolison, who didn't actually play in the first round. Got a bye into that second round, which is, of course, very good for him because he gets £7,500 for pretty much doing nothing so far in this tournament. But he plays now, which is good for the player that's a nickname, the Javelin. Devon Petersen coming up against Steve Lennon. That game is going to be fantastic to watch tonight. I think that'll be a very even game indeed. 2 very good players on their day. Rob Cross taking on Dirk van Duijvenbode. That match is going to be brilliant. Of course, the 2018 World Darts Championship winner coming up against a player who's certainly been on form in 2020. And then we've got the brilliant game tonight of Dimitri van den Bergh, who's going to be taking on Paul Lim in that second round fixture. But, of course, it all depends experience taking on the youth of the darts. The question is, will it be Dimitri van Duijvenbode who comes out on top in that match? You probably would expect it to be him. But we've got our first game coming up. Cameron Carlison, as I said, getting a bye into this second round of the competition. Only 24 years old, which is interesting to see. But once again, I will keep saying it. For those of you that are watching tonight, I massively apologise if there's quite bad lag on stream. I've been trying to sort it out for quite a bit of time, and it just seems to be today that the Wi-Fi is having an absolute off day. So whether we get potentially half an hour or an hour into this stream and it starts kicking up a fuss again, I will just send you over to another World Darts Watch-Along stream. I'll send you guys over there and we'll go and raid them. But realistically, we should be good for now. The first game going to get underway in a moment. Chris has made his predictions in the chat. He's gone Danny Noppert 3, Carlison to get 1 set on the board. Devon Petersen with a 3-0 win against Steve Lennon. Rob Cross 2, Dirk van Duijvenbode 3, which is an interesting one actually. I think that'll be a very tight game, and a very good game to watch, of course. And then Dimitri van den Bergh with a 3-0 win over Paul Lim. As much as Paul Lim was fantastic to watch in that last game, I think realistically today we should see a much better competition for Dimitri van den Bergh in terms of getting through to the next round fairly easily. But we are underway, and this is going to be a very interesting game, this one, because as I said, Carlison's not had any experience so far at the World Darts Championship. He's a debutant. He's the second South African to play in this competition this year. Of course, we will see the other South African, Devon Petersen, a little bit later on. But let me put the scoreboard up on the screen as I usually do. There we go, so you guys can see what's going on. And it looks like we haven't dropped any frames for a little bit here, so we should be good to go. So apologies about that once again. As I said, if it does get a little bit worse later on, we will send you guys over to another stream, so you at least can keep up with the action on tonight's World Darts Championship. But I hope you're all good, Chris. Thank you very much for joining as always. He's put, if Noppert was playing Kleermaker, I'd tip Kleermaker to beat Noppert. Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, we had a very good early session today, didn't we? Adrian Lewis, surprise, surprise, losing his game, which, to be honest, if you've been watching darts for the majority of this year, you'll know he's not really a surprise. He's been on pretty poor form, but Carlison with a 140 there to put himself down to 265 on the first leg of his first set. And it's a good start. A very good start indeed. Of course, we've seen a few debutants in this competition do very well and look very comfy indeed. And Carlison has got nothing to fear. As I said, didn't play in his original first round fixture purely because of Kleermaker unfortunately getting COVID. Hopefully he's okay. Fingers crossed. But Danny Noppert will expect to go through on this. Realistically, this is kind of like a round one game, isn't it? And that's no offence to Danny Noppert, but in terms of the calibre of the opponents, you would expect Noppert to blitz this game 3-0 or 3-1 at the very least. But Carlison, already $7.5 in the bank without even having to play a game, so he'll be happy about that. I don't know whether he will or not actually get the $7.5 with it being a bye into the next round. I don't know whether they'll actually give him the cash or not for it. But either way, he's staying. He's had a few more extra days of practice for this match. Danny Noppert as well. First game for him today. And another one of those players in the ever-present bracket that I like to call the Dreamers to go far in competitions. I think he's one of those players where he will look to be trying to get towards those quarterfinals or the round of 16 of the World Darts Championship and go on a good run. Because he's a good player on his day, but Carlison here with a chance for the first set on the board with a 70 checkout. Gets 18 and 20, it means he needs double 16, which he gets. And the young South African gets the first leg on the board and looks very, very comfortable on the stage. Very good start there. 24-year-old South African who, of course, is fantastic to see two South Africans play off in this competition. And he's got off to a very good start with the first leg on the board of this match. And I think we're dropping frames once again here. I really do apologise. It could not happen at a worst possible time, could it, where we drop frames. Unbelievable. So Danny Noppert coming into this next leg and finds himself in a bit of a position here of stress. He's one leg down already, and it's going to be very nervy indeed. As I said before, are we dropping frames in the chat? Are we dropping frames? Because I think we're dropping frames again. Oh, she's fucking annoying, man. I really do apologise about this. I'll just sort this out a second. It's a real problem. Well, we don't seem to be dropping any frames anymore. I apologise about that. As I said, it's really frustrating. It seems to be the one day today where, realistically, I'm going live and it just doesn't really want to work. Which might mean I have to stop the stream. And I'll send you guys over to another watch-along. Which I apologise about. But for now, we should be alright. So, Danny Noppert here at 347. Cameron Carolissen is already down to 224. Although Noppert's got himself down to 207 here. And the South African will be hungry to get himself a set on the board. And I have to talk about that game between Adrian Lewis and Danny Baggish earlier on today. And as I said, I think at the beginning of the stream, if you are one of those fans of darts that have been watching for the last year, you'll know that AD Lewis has been on pretty shocking form for quite some time now. And it's very similar to one of the other games yesterday where we said, is it a shock if Gerwyn Price was knocked out by Jamie Lewis? I think it's a little bit of a shock that Danny Baggish knocked him out, but Adrian Lewis has been so poor recently that Danny Baggish result, in my opinion, was kind of expected. And a very good result, of course, for the American, which credit to him, of course. It's a real tough situation for him. Evening Shagger, how are we doing, David? Hope you're all good, buddy. Just give me a heads up in the chat, David. Are we dropping frames? Because what I've had to say is there's a chance here for 107 checkout for Noppert. If the stream continues to drop frames and keeps lagging, I might have to end it early and send you guys over to another one. The Wi-Fi's just shat the bed tonight. Like, massively shat the bed. I'm going to try and see if I can sort it. Realistically, the good thing is, we've only got one more day of action before we get the Christmas break. So I go back to my usual area as Carolissen misses an opportunity to check out 46 on the double 8 there, and Noppert on double 10. Doesn't get double 10 now, he's double 5. He's got 2 darts at it to get a leg on the board. And he's not going to get it. He hits the 5, and it's an edgy start to the game for Danny Noppert here. But, yeah, realistically, we have one more day of action, which is tomorrow. And then after that, we've got a break between the 23rd and the 27th. So we've got a few days where there's nothing going on. So it gives me a nice little bit of a Christmas break, which I'm looking forward to, of course. Because, to be honest, I've not had a break on this channel for quite some time now. It's just been constant in terms of content for football and darts. I have to end the stream. We should be back. If you guys can hear me right now, I really do apologise about this. It seems to be lagging, and I have no idea why. Just internet is shit in the bed. We should be back now. We should be back. I've refreshed it, so hopefully we should be back massively. What I'm going to do is, as I said, if it keeps lagging, I'm going to give it one more opportunity. If it keeps lagging, I'm going to put a link in the chat to the darts referees watch-along, and I'll send you guys there to go and watch it. But to answer your question, David, while it's not lagging, MVG, Gerwyn Price, Peter Wright, Vandenberg, Durrant. I wouldn't even put Gary Anderson in there, actually. As much as I love Gary Anderson, I wouldn't even put Anderson on that list. Who else would I put in there? I'm forgetting some players off the top of my head. So someone will tell me in the chat a few of the players I'm missing off the top of my head here, but I think... How are we doing, Danny Mac? Welcome to stream, buddy. I really do apologise about this lag. It's looking like this stream's not going to last much longer. I'm so sorry, guys. So fucking annoying. I'm just glad we've got a Christmas break between the 23rd and the 27th, because realistically right now, this is why I hate being here. The internet, it was alright yesterday. Didn't have a problem, but today it's fucking shitting the bed. And realistically, it's making sure I can't stream. I think I might send you guys over to the darts referee. Did Lewis lose this morning? He did indeed, Danny Mac. He did indeed. He lost 3 sets to 1 against Danny Baggish. The first set, he played awful. Like, genuinely bad. The second set, he started to get into it, but just left it a little bit too late to get back into the match. As Carolissen gets a set on the board, and Danny Noppert is under some real stress here to go and get himself a result in this game. And Because we're having lag right now, I think I might send you guys over to the darts referee. I think. Is he lagging bad? Tell me in the chat. If he's not lagging too bad, I'll keep going for now, but today just seems to be a very off day, and I apologise for that. I'm so sorry for the regular viewers who've been turning up, because I'll just be glad on the 28th when I'm back in my usual spot, because the Wi-Fi there is no problem. But David in the chat saying Price, MVG, right, Aspinall, of course, said about Aspinall. Aspinall, Smith, Durrant, yes, Smith's got to be in there as well. De Souza as well, has to be in there in my opinion. How you doing, Bernie? Hope you're all good. Welcome to the stream, buddy. I don't know how long I'll be live for at this rate, because it's been fucking poo tonight. Maybe James Wade as well, or Chisnell. The problem is, David, is that there's so many good players that could get into the Premier League of Darts that they need to go back to the 10-man group and not have the challengers more than anything. They need to go back to the 10-man system. It's not too bad, just some hiccups, but it's up to you, buddy. It's okay. If it lags heavily at one point like it was earlier, then give me a heads up in the chat, and I'll put the link in the chat for the darts referees watch along. But it's not too bad, so we'll keep going for now. And in terms of this game, let's go back to the darts, of course, because Cameron Carroll-Listen here is looking fantastic indeed. One set up to nothing against Danny Noppert, who's not really got into this game. And let's look at the stats. Well, you probably can still hear me, and it doesn't lag right now. But in terms of the averages of the game so far, Carroll-Listen only averaging 79.11, but it's good enough because Danny Noppert is averaging 69.11. It's the worst I think I've seen of the tournament right now. Rowan said not awful, just intermediately for like 3 seconds, not bad. It's frustrating because the worst thing is he wasn't even doing it yesterday. It was all right yesterday, but today it just doesn't seem to want to work, which is very frustrating indeed. Very frustrating. So I know it's not even a case, but I'm going to say it is a case of this Wi-Fi being bad at times, but I know it's not a case of it being terrible to not be able to stream, because I've streamed multiple times on it before and it's been fine. I guess as well with Christmas, everybody's on the Wi-Fi, but Danny Noppert here has got some real worries on his hands. He might only be one set down and he's got plenty of time to get back into this game, but realistically right now, averaging 69.11, he's got so much work to do in this game, because Cameron Carroll-Listen, another debutant as well, by the way, in this tournament, could be on to potentially, if Danny Noppert continues playing poorly, maybe go through to the third round of the World Darts Championship. And yes, he did get a bye in the first round because Clearmaker got COVID, but don't take that away from the fact that Cameron has been waiting the longest of any player to play at the World Darts Championship so far in terms of round 1 players, because he originally was supposed to play and Claymaker did get COVID, which was a shame for him in the end. But seeing what you guys have been saying in the chat, Ryan Searle and Whitlock maybe to get into the Premier League of Darts, I'd definitely like to see that at some point. The thing is with the Premier League of Darts, right, they could easily have like 2 Premier Leagues set up. You can have Van Gerwen, Peter Wright, Going Price, all the big names in there. You could have a second Premier League where you have the likes of Ryan Searle, Dave Chisnell, Samuel Whitlock, players like, you know, Devon Petersen, all those types of players in there. You could easily have 2 Premier Leagues set up if you wanted to. It's never going to happen, but you could have easily 2 of those set up if you wanted to. There's just so many good players that miss out. That, as we said before, I mean, David agreed with me, sack the contenders off. I agree with you. As much as it was nice to have a few good moments, and I think that the best moment of the contenders, and I said about it before a few days ago, the moment that proved that the was the John Henderson night in Aberdeen, where, you know, the fans... he's been struggling, though, a little bit. Gone again the stream. Oh, for fuck's sake, man. Oh, fucking hell. I apologise. I apologise. Oh, why is it not working today? It might, as I said, it might be a very quick stream here. I'm getting a message, so give me 2 seconds. That's all right. Since Adrian wants to be Tarsh, I'm pulling him for right now. It's froze his back. Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. Blame Virgin Media, a terrible company at the end of the day, making this a real hassle for me right now. As I said, luckily, when we get to the 28th, we won't have this problem. We will be back to normal again with the Wi-Fi, but... it's shit in the bed today. But we're back underway with this game between Danny Noppert and Cameron Carroll-Listen. We saw, obviously, Danny Noppert averaging 70, or just under 70. In fact, he was averaging 69 in that last set. He was having an absolute stinker of a game to start off that original first leg. But I think, going back to your point, Bernie, I don't know if you were able to hear me before it cut off, but I think Adrian Lewis, I wouldn't actually put him in the Premier League, and the reason why is because he's been so poor this last couple of years. He's completely fell off a cliff. Like, completely fell off a cliff. And as much as I was watching the game earlier, and he looked like he was coming back into the match, you know, got a few... I think he got 1 ton plus finish, got a few 180s on the board, started to build a bit of confidence in the game. I never looked at that match and thought he was ever gonna like go on and win it, because realistically everything had to, you know, swing his way against Danny Baggish. And realistically, you know, Danny Baggish, you know, if you haven't heard after the game, unfortunately his brother, I think, or one of his family members, has had a stroke, and I think that game for him was massive. For his family, who were actually there, as well as Carolison gets a double 16 checkout and puts himself 1 leg up in this second set. And I tell you one thing, that's 4 legs on the bounce. Danny Noppert, is he on the same route here as Adrian Lewis in this game? He's having a stinker so far, but he never was going to get back into that game, because I think the sentimental stuff for Danny Baggish will be massively on his mind. Ah, you meant the second Prem. You know, I get what you mean now, Bertie. If he was a second Prem, then absolutely I'd stick in, you know, Devon Petersen, Simon Whitlock, Adrian Lewis, Dave Chisnell, John Henderson, stick him in there, why not? You could stick so many play in there. You know, Luke Wood. No, actually, no, I wouldn't put Woodhouse in there, actually. Who else would I put in? I mean, you could put Dirk van Duijvenbode in there, potentially, if you wanted to. But Cameron Carolison here is on fire. 180 there, and he's down to 181. Noppert at 318. David's asked in the chat, what would your walk-on song be? If I had to pick a walk-on song, I would have The House of Fun by Madness. I think I'd have The House of Fun by Madness, purely because I wouldn't want to take a song that somebody's already got. Because I'm pretty sure we saw at one point, didn't somebody have... didn't somebody take... what they call it? Oh, what was the song? There was 2... John Henderson had, of course, Rocking All Over the World. And then I'm pretty sure there was somebody else who had the exact same song. I think it might have been Jamie Lowe who had it. Froze again. Unbelievable. I think what I'm going to do is, after this game is done, I think I'll send you guys over to another stream. It's too laggy, and I apologise about this tonight for those of you that have been turning up for these streams. Usually it doesn't lag, and I apologise. I will say as well, a big thank you to all of you that have subscribed. We're up to 1,434 subscribers, which is fucking brilliant. So thank you for all of you that have left subs in the end. It's incredibly appreciated, and of course I'm not expecting anyone to sub tonight when you're seeing a horrible laggy stream, but a big thanks for those of you that are turning up. I apologise about the lag. After this game, I'm probably going to send you guys over to another stream. But Carolison is now 2 legs up in this second set. And Noppert's going to have to win his next 3 on the bounce if he wants to get a set on the board here. Or else Carolison is going 2-0 up on sets. And this South African youngster is looking brilliant. Great game from Carolison so far. He looks hungry. And I'll tell you what, to say he's a debutant, he doesn't feel like he is. He's rocking and rolling in this match against the 25th ranked player in the world, that is Danny Noppert. He's having an absolute shitter right now, Danny. Ratajski as well, Ian White, Bernie Smith saying, definitely there. I agree with you on those ones. Of course, we said about Whitlock earlier, didn't we? I'd put Darius Labanauskas in there too. He's another player I'd put into that kind of second Premier League. There's just too many good players. It's hard to kind of pick out who you'd put in a second Premier League. But Danny Noppert right now, currently averaging 74.31. Carolison averaging 86.56, which realistically isn't a massively high average, but it's a much better average and good enough to win a game right now against Danny Noppert. But if you didn't get to hear my song earlier, in terms of the walkout song I'd have, David, I said House of Fun by Madness. I would have as my song, I think. If I was to pick, I don't think anybody's got that as their walk-on song. If somebody knows, if somebody's got it, then tell me in the chat. But who would you put? Do put, tell us in the chat. Who would you put if there was a second Premier League which didn't include the likes of Van Gerwen, Gerwin Price, Peter Wright, plays like that. Who would you put into a second Premier League? Would you put in the likes of Ratajski, Ian White, Dave Chisnell, Simon Whitlock? Who would you put into a second Premier League? Tell us in the chat here. But Danny Noppert is down to 147. Carolison at 111. He's going to have to check out the 147 here, Noppert, which he's not going to be able to. So a chance here for Cameron Carolison to be able to check out the 111 and go 2 sets up in this game. Once again, I apologise for the lag right now. I will be sending you guys over to another stream at the end of this game, I think. It's just too laggy right now to be able to sit here for 4 hours and try and give you guys good content. It's very frustrating indeed, so I apologise about the lag. But chance here. Double 16 for a 111 checkout. Oh, unlucky there for Carolison. Just a thought CPU usage can use lag right. It can. In terms of CPU usage right now on my laptop, it's pretty much... Let me have a quick look. I think it's more the Wi-Fi than anything, because my Now TV has had an absolute nightmare. But a celebration there from Danny Noppert. 30% of its CPU it's currently using, by the way. I think, was it Danny that put it in the chat? Yeah, 30% of CPU. I think it is literally just the Wi-Fi having a shitter today, because my Now TV's been lagging a bit as well. Always at the worst time, isn't it, when the Wi-Fi lags. But chance here for a 180 from Danny Noppert, which he doesn't get. But is that an important moment in the game that opens up the opportunity for Danny Noppert to come back into this match? As I said, he needs to win the next 2 legs on the bounce here if he wants to get something in this match. Only 60 to start from Cameron Carolison. And Danny Noppert is going to have to try and capitalise on that, which he does, kind of. Gets 96 there and gets himself down to 265. So there's a little bit of a gap here between Noppert and Carolison. And he's got to get at least a ton here. He's got 2 travelable 20s. And talk about making sure there's no pressure on him. 180 on there from Carolison. All that pressure that Danny Noppert put on in there means nothing when Carolison gets the 180 on the board. And now Noppert gets 57, which means here that Carolison has an opportunity to take a foothold of this set. Gets a treble 20. Gets a 20. Really needs another treble here, which he doesn't get. But 97 might be enough. It puts him down at 164. Noppert at 208, so can only put himself with a decent finish on the board. Which he gets 60 and leaves 148. So the hands of this match and the second set are in Carolison's right now, because he's got a 164 finish. Noppert at a 148, gets the treble 20. Now he's treble 18, which he doesn't get. So he won't be able to check out here. But Danny Noppert is going to have to check out 148 so he can leave himself a decent finish here. So Carolison down to, I think, 68. Noppert here at 148, gets treble 20. He needs another one here, which he doesn't get. And he's not going to be able to check out. If Taylor started playing again, could he make top 32 in 2 years? It's a tough question, actually, that. Do I think he could do it? I don't know, to be honest. I mean, Phil Taylor's still a good player. But would he make the top 32 in 2 years? I don't know, really. I think that's a question that a lot of people will ask about Barney when Barney comes back. I don't think necessarily if Barney can get into the top 32, but can Barney compete with the very best? But Carolison's missed an opportunity here to check out 68, which means there's a good opportunity for Danny Noppert to check out double 4, which first dart's just a little bit too high, but he's a good marker for his second dart, which is in, and that is 2 legs apiece in this second set. And this is a real opportunity for Danny Noppert to get back in this game, and Carolison has to take this next leg. It is the most crucial leg of the game, you could think, because Carolison could go 2 sets up here, or are we about to see Danny Noppert make it 1 leg apiece and have an interesting affair on our hands? Carolison there starts with 100. I mean, Danny's part. I think Phil can still play. The travel schedule for darts is brutal, though. Yeah, and I think that was one of the reasons why, you know, he said before when he retired, I think, the travel schedule for darts is so hectic that somebody like Phil Taylor, you know, in his 50s, he just couldn't do it anymore, which is understandable, and I completely understand his point for the fact that he you know, wanted to retire from the game, but I think he still could compete, absolutely. Whether we get into the top 32 or not is another question for another day, but as I said before, I think that's the same about Barney. If Barney does qualify from Q School, which you would expect him to, although it's a fucking hard place to qualify from, could Barney maybe get a tour card by 2022? You'd expect for him to maybe back in PDC games. Can he compete with the very best? It all depends on Barney's attitude, but realistically, I think Barney, as we said yesterday, is only going to come back for the money. David's asked in the chat, before I go, predictions for the... I have to tell us in the chat there, David. Once again, just big apologies tonight for the lag. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating. I keep checking to see if we're dropping any frames. I mean, we've not dropped a lot of frames in the last few minutes, but I really do apologise. As I said, I want to try and bring you the best watch-alongs possible on the channel, but hopefully, as I said, when I'm back in my usual position on the 28th with my studio setup, we'll have no issues with streaming at all. But Noppart here at 36, Carolison at 120. I'll make my predictions for the last 3 games in a moment, because Carolison needs treble 20 and tops, and he won't be able to check out. So Danny Noppart here with an opportunity to level the game up at 1 set apiece on double 18. And he gets it. Double 18. Check out for Danny Noppart. And credit has to go to the Dutchman there, because he was averaging 70 in that second set. But he's got himself a set on the board. And this game has changed up completely. It's 1 set apiece between Danny Noppart and Cameron Carolison. It's a very good game indeed. But in terms of my prediction for the next 3 matches on the night, I think Devon Petersen versus Steve Lennon is going to be I think that game's interesting. At least your bed is made today. Yeah, to be fair, I came back home yesterday and there was so much shit that had been chucked on the bed. It was like they'd forgot I even existed. So, yeah, it looked a bit scrappy today. But I made my bed. I like to have myself nice and tidy and organised, so it's nice to have it all lovely and clean today. But in terms of the next 3 games, I think Devon Petersen against Steve Lennon is actually a tough match. I think that's going to end 3-2 to Devon Petersen. But it all depends what Petersen turns up, because he's a great player on his day. But realistically, I think Steve Lennon we're looking hungry to try and go through to the next round of the World Darts Championship. But then again, any player is. They don't want to go home before Christmas in this competition. Rob Cross and Dirk van Duijvenbode. That game is going to be brilliant to watch. 2018 World Darts Championship winner, of course. Rob Cross certainly not being on form. And I think Dirk van Duijvenbode will look at that game and he will think to himself, I can win it. I can knock out the 2018 winner of the World Darts Championship, because he's not been on good form, Rob Cross. However, at the same time, Rob Cross will be thinking in his head, he'll be looking at that side of the bracket that he's on. Whoever wins that game will come up against either Glenn Durrant or Danny Baggish. Now, realistically, Glenn Durrant himself hasn't been on form. So even Danny Baggish himself will look at that game and think, it's genuinely a match I could win depending on what Glenn Durrant turns up. But I think for me, Dirk van Duijvenbode is going to win that game 3-2. I think he's going to be another tight one, if I'm being honest with you. But Rob Cross, if he goes through, or you know what, any of the players that go through into that side of the bracket, all 4 players, whether it would be Durrant, whether it be Cross, Dirk van Duijvenbode or Baggish, they'll all look at that side and think, I can quite easily make, you know, the last 16 or the quarterfinals at the very least, depending on what happens after that match. So I think that'll be an interesting one between Rob Cross and Dirk van Duijvenbode. And then Dimitri van den Bergh v Paul Lim. I think we're all wishing that Paul Lim would go on and win that game, but I think Dimitri van den Bergh is going to be a little bit too much for him. I think he'll win that 3-1, and ultimately in the end, Paul Lim could still go out on a high, because it's a very good game to play off against Dimitri van den Bergh, but it should be a very interesting match indeed. Bernie's put in the chat, I used to play poker with Taylor at a mate's house. He turned up in a Bentley with tracksuit on and an old baseball cap, tight as they come. I remember him saying, actually, about a story with Eric Bristow where he was like, at the start of his career when he knew Eric Bristow and stuff. I think Eric Bristow had a Mercedes, I think quite a new Mercedes, and he was talking to his wife at that point about just Eric Bristow's Mercedes. And then, of course, his wife said to him pretty much, you know, if you want a car like that, go out there and get the money to be able to buy it. And then I think it was after that he bought himself a Bentley, which is quite funny with you saying that about the Bentley. I remember I watched a clip about it a few days ago. Bought himself a nice Bentley, and yeah, it just reminded me of that moment there, Bernie. But I'd like to see Phil Taylor come back, but ultimately I think the best thing for him is to just not bother. Do you know what I mean? One of those, I think, where he had a good time. Don't come back and spoil it for yourself, because he's a great player at the end of the day, but it's such a competitive pool now, it's impossible, isn't it? He's a Port Vale fan, but we used to go Stoke FC because it was free. Can't complain, isn't it? We love a bit of non-league football. But we're back underway now with this game between Danny Noppert and Cameron Carroll. And once again, I apologise sincerely tonight for the lag on this stream. I'm not going to be live for much longer, if I'm being honest with you. It's been a little bit too laggy tonight, so I do apologise for those of you that have turned up. I'll send you over, of course, to another stream, so I do apologise. Very frustrating indeed. But let's continue on with this game. One set apiece in this match. Danny Noppert averaged 69.1 in that second set, but first set. But I'm looking at the averages for the second set. I think we're back. Apologies. I think I might just have to send you over to another stream, just for the sake of it. But we're back either way. So one set apiece in this match. Danny Noppert has got to keep on with the form that he had in that second set, because he's looked so much better than he did in that first set. And it's understandable because, you know, it's a little bit shaky coming into these games at the start. When you've not played a match of the Yali Paddy this year, you're going to be feeling a little bit of pressure on yourself to go out there and get a good performance. Especially when you're coming up against a debutant. You know, you've got no former knowledge of that player, no experience of playing against them. So it's understandable in a game like this why players like Edward Fulks and Cameron Carroll tend to give players quite tight games. But realistically, it should be an interesting match. I will be here for the Sports Corner radio show whenever you cover the darts, even when I purchase PDC.TV. You fucking legend, Danny. I love you, buddy. I love all of you that turn up. Because I've said before multiple times on stream that realistically for me, these were... it's a good 52 checkout there from Danny Noppert for the first leg of the second set. But for me, these... I never expected them to be so popular. So this was just a test to see whether darts would be popular on the channel or not. But now I know how popular it is and how many of you have turned up and been regulars on the channel. I've already said that when the Premier League of Darts starts up next year, I'll be doing a watch-along for that. And all of the big tournaments like the World Grand Prix and the World Darts Championship next year, I'll be covering them once again next year on the channel. So I think we're back. The lag, man, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. But what I was saying before it booted us off there is we'll definitely be doing darts watch-alongs next year. I'll be doing it for the Premier League of Darts. I'll be doing it for everything else at end. But I'm going to have to cut it, I think. I'm going to have to cut it because this is a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. But I'll be doing Premier League of Darts next year. I'll do the any of the big competitions. Realistically, I'm going to do next year for the darts. There'll be a lot more dart streams on the channel, but I'm going to have to cut it. I think I'm going to have to cut it. There's too much lag right now for this to be able to be a good stream, and I apologise for all of you that have turned up. I mean, there's been quite a lot of you already in this stream tonight, but I really do apologise. As I said, the Wi-Fi that I'm on, the McDonald's Wi-Fi, is shit in the bed here, and unfortunately for you guys, it's not an enjoyable stream when you're having to refresh it every 5 seconds. And I really do apologise here about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link in the chat to another stream and go over there, give the guys some support, and go over to the darts referee. Say, of course, that you've joined because of the Sports Corner, and give a heads up. And I apologise about that. I'm hoping I'll be back tomorrow. Fingers crossed the Wi-Fi is much better, and we'll do another stream. But as for now, I apologise about that. I do apologise indeed. So go over to the darts referee if you want another watch along, and enjoy the rest of the night of the darts. And once again, I apologise about the lag. It's fucking annoying indeed. I apologise. So as for now, have a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. I'll have another stream tomorrow night. That'll be from 6:10. Let's just hope that the Wi-Fi doesn't shit the bed. But as for now, have a fantastic day, and go over to the darts referee. Give him some appreciation and some love. Tell him that you've come over from the sports corner. But as for now, I'll see you guys later. Fucking hell, nearly fell out of my chair. Oh my god, I'll be over on the darts referee. So I'll see you guys on there, and I'll be back live tomorrow. As I said, 6:10. But as for now,